Hi everyone, it's Ember, your favorite fiery redhead, and things have been happening as of late. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but there has been a very troubling trend that's been happening online for the last couple of days, honestly. And it's something that I wanted to talk about because, quite frankly, it should be concerning to pretty much everyone out there that basically just wants to live their lives and not get sucked into all of the current day insanity that's currently been plaguing, well, just about everyone. So here you'll see what first really kind of grabbed me. Now this is something that has been going on for a while. I've actually talked about it before, about other people doing it, but for some reason, this really just started bothering me. Because as you see here, we have Denims put a post onto Twitter that was in reference to another, retweeting another another person's tweet where she basically says, "Never thought I'd see the day we'd be fence sitting the modern Gestapo." And of course, you see, we have a picture here of Emiru with the words racist chud. Now, for anybody that you know that knows who Emiru is, follows her streams, what have you, you will know that Emiru is an absolute sweetheart. She is one of the most popular streamers on Twitch, one of the most watched female streamers on the platform. And the reason for that is because she's a very kind, very sweet girl, woman. She is, she's like in her 30s now, but she's very nice. She's very sweet. All she wants to do is have fun, play games, and create a stream for people to just come and relax in, have a good time, maybe forget about the troubles that they've been experiencing throughout the day. However, this doesn't seem to be good enough for some people because, as you can see here, we have this person that Denims retweeted where Emiru is asked her thoughts about ICE. And well, let us just listen to her response.
On ice? Like, there's a certain extent where I'm like, okay, sure, I get people wanting big content creators to, like, say their opinions on, like, important topics. I get that, right? But it's like, if you need a streamer who doesn't even know anything about politics to tell you about politics, you probably just need to, like, get off the internet. Like, just stop. Like hello? Like...
And there it is. It's literally as simple as that. Someone in her chat asked her what her thoughts are about ICE. And she just said, "Why are you asking me? I'm not a political streamer. I don't get into politics." She's basically just there to have fun. She's showing off some good-looking food, and she doesn't delve into the current events or anywhere even close to the political sphere. And she's absolutely right. When nobody goes into Emiru's stream to discuss politics, it's very well known that's not why she streams. That's not what she does for content. She has nothing to do with that. They go there to just have fun and get away from the world. And her response, perfectly legit. She doesn't want to express an opinion one way or another because that is not what her stream is about. She wants to keep her stream the way that she's always had her stream, to have fun, to enjoy, and to be a place for people to kind of forget their troubles for a couple hours. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Well, Denims apparently has a problem with this and basically is equating Emiru to fence sitting on what she's classifying as the modern Gestapo, which is ICE. First of all, Denims, of course, being completely wrong about that. ICE is not the modern day Gestapo. Denims, who I'm guessing maybe failed world history, would realize that the modern Gestapo would have already basically kicked in her door, black bagged her and disappeared her to a black site, never to be heard from again, simply for calling them this, simply for voicing dissent about the activities of a federal law enforcement agency. And we're seeing this much more often, that people are equating ICE and the current ICE operations that are happening throughout the country, primarily in blue states, where people are critiquing this, and they are equating it with fascism and a Gestapo. And again, every single one of them very conveniently forgetting the part where if what was occurring was actually fascism, if ICE was operating as a Gestapo, none of them would actually be around to continue to and scream these very thoughts. A Gestapo would have already, in violation of any federal laws, already tracked down their IP addresses to their home, if that was even necessary, kicked in their doors, put a bag over their head, and spirited them off to a black site where you would never hear from them again, and even your family would not be able to collect your remains. That is what an actual fascist state and Gestapo does. But that's obviously too much for Denims to comprehend, and it's also apparently too much for Mike from PA to comprehend either, because Mike from PA is also retweeting people where someone, this person, Straw Hat Izzy, is saying, you don't have to know anything about politics to know that the abuse of human rights is not okay. Streamers who say this are so annoying because are you not human? Do you not give a damn about injustices happening to other humans? Again, someone else demanding you must have an opinion. You absolutely must have an opinion on this, because if you don't have an opinion, well, how can I then either justify, basically say, ha, see, this big streamer supports my opinion, so you have to listen to me, or this big streamer doesn't support my opinions, so you have to hate them. And what we're seeing is we're seeing in a twist. We are seeing a change and a twist in the meta, because before it was people that were so vehemently anti-ICE would go after people that were pro-ICE, people that were very vocal, either in the streaming space, in the video content creation space, or in the Twitter space. These people would go after these other very vocal individuals that were supportive of ICE and supportive of the current government, supportive of the president, and they would attack that, and of course call them every Nazi, fascist, istophobe name in the book. But now we're seeing a change of tactics. Now we're starting to see people going after individuals because as content creators, they are saying, I don't want to get involved in this. I just want to have a fun stream. I don't want to deal with politics. I don't want to bring down the mood for myself and for my stream by talking politics. But this isn't good enough for people. You have this from Kaio saying, approaching your 30s and not knowing anything about politics when you're living in the country currently being affected by current events involving ICE is embarrassing. And if you pretend to not have a political stance so you don't lose racist view base, that's even more embarrassing. People don't ask your political opinion because they think you can teach them. They're asking so they can decide if they want to support you or not based on your morals. And there it is. Although he's twisting and trying to say that people ask you your opinion so basically they can judge you. That's what this boils down to. These people are trying to force an opinion out of you so they can judge you. So they can basically say if you are a good un or if you are a bad un, if you should be allowed to continue to exercise your constitutional right of freedom of speech, or if that constitutional right of freedom of speech should be revoked from you by them, these people, and you should be silenced. Sometimes in a violent manner, perhaps, as we've seen in the past. That's what this is all about. They are now going after individuals that simply just wish to engage in content creation on YouTube or on Twitch in a distinctly apolitical matter because they only want to have fun. They want to create a place of fun, relaxation, enjoyment where people can get away from the modern day bullshit, effectively speaking. But these people don't want that. These people are demanding that you must have an opinion. Do you follow the correct hive mind right think? Or are you a member of the wrong think or group and you should be ostracized and silenced by whatever means necessary, be it by bullying, be it by harassment, or be it by other much more nefarious means that we have seen in recent days? That's the way these people are thinking. So what they are doing is they are changing their tactics. And instead of going after people that will fight back, because they can't actually defend against people that will clap back on any and on their opinions that they provide. Because the people that will clap back can easily shut them down in a heartbeat. So they've stopped trying to go after them. They're still resorting to sniping and name calling, of course. We see this with people like Rev, with Leaflet, with Kirsche, where they'll call them Nazis, they'll snipe at them, they'll call them names, whatever. Of course, they're going to still keep doing that because they have to keep feeding that beast that can never be fed. But now the tactical meta has changed, and now they're going for people that don't have an opinion and don't wish to get political on their content because they are what I refer to as being soft targets. Soft targets meaning they are streamers or content creators who don't want to have anything to do with politics. That's not what they want their content to be. They've chosen not to have that content, and they may even not have a legitimate, stance on a subject matter because they may not be properly informed about it. That's not good enough for these people. These people are demanding you have to know. How could you possibly not know about the current political climate that's happening in the country? Because to these people whose entire lives are now revolving around political strife and political activism, it is unconscionable for any of them to even conceive of the notion that someone might not actually care about politics, that politics does not rule their lives, that there are far more important things that they would rather focus on versus the insanity that is modern day politics. They cannot fathom this. Their brain blue screens at the very notion that someone is legitimately apolitical. And after it's done rebooting off of the blue screen, it goes into attack mode because to them, it is unacceptable that someone can just not have an opinion about something. That someone might just say, I'm uninformed, so I'm not going to comment, or I don't want to comment on that because that's not what I'm about. I don't want to be known as someone who talks a lot about politics or anything. That's not what I want to do. And that's not good enough for people like Denims. It's not good enough for people like Mike from PA. It's not good enough for this Kyle person. It's also not good enough for this Evan Loves Worf person. This is a notorious troll on Twitter, notorious troll/bully, who's also going after Banana Juju. Because as you notice, Banana Juju said, in response to Denims, racist for not saying anything, make it make sense. Exactly. This is the route that they go with because you notice Evan Loves Worf responds racist for not saying anything when the question was basically, is racism bad? Which, by the way, was not the question. And this is part of what they're doing. The question Emiru was asked on her stream was, what's your opinion about ICE? To which she said, I'm not informed enough. I'm not going to talk about it. There's no I don't want to talk about it, and you shouldn't be looking to me for your political commentary. If you're looking to the average streamer for political advice or commentary, you need to get off the internet and go touch grass. At no point was there a discussion about quote unquote racism. But people like this who cannot get out of politics and are basically an activist 24/7 and all they know how to do is be an activist will immediately twist this into, well, this was about racism when it wasn't. had nothing to do with racism. The question and point was not about racism, but these people need to twist it to fit their narrative so they can attack the soft targets. So they can bully, they can harass, they can threaten and say, you have to have an opinion and it better be the one that we share. Because that's how these people operate. And we're seeing it not just in America, but we're seeing it in Canada too. I looked at a video by this Moemi person who was basically attacking Tomoe for not having a political opinion. They did a full-on video about Tomoe and went off about the fact that Tomoe refused to have an opinion about the current political climate, about what ICE is having. And because Tomoe didn't have an opinion and just wanted to have fun, well, that automatically equates to Nazism and fascism. Because someone doesn't want to get involved with politics when there are already millions upon millions of people, either streamers or not, or the average person, or Twitter users that are constantly talking about politics. She or Emiru or any other streamer that does not wish to talk about politics has no obligation to. Again, freedom of speech also means freedom of not talking about something you do not want to talk about. And this is where it's just become insane. Because you've got people that basically think that they can dictate what a streamer should say on their own stream. Look at this person, Damien Haas. He says, hey, it's actually super easy to stream and have opinions. I'll show you. Fuck ICE, fuck Donald Trump and everyone in the administration, fuck Elon Musk, free Palestine, U.S. has stolen land built by stolen people, Luigi did nothing wrong, abortion is healthcare, leave trans people the fuck alone. So this person, while basically going through check boxes for the extreme left activism, checked off just about every box there, and one of which being advocating for murder. By the way, I'll just point that out. This is a person that's actually advocating for murder. I'm actually surprised that another name is not on this list. But these are people that basically say, you need to conduct your stream the way I want to conduct it. It might be your stream, Emiru, or it might be your stream, it might be your stream, Tomei, but you need to conduct it in the way that I want you to. You need to talk about things that I want you to talk about. Even though it's your stream, you need to do what I say because I'm an activist and I feel like I am the righteous one here. The reality is, for all of these escaped insane asylum patients, is that absolutely none of them can tell any streamer how to conduct their own stream. Not a one. It is for most of the names that we've gone through on this, you guys have your own streams and your own channels. If you want to talk about political topics and your own personal stance on those political topics, be they considered, quote, right or, quote, wrong, depending upon your audience, you are free to do so. If you wish to discuss the current political situation, if you want to discuss about ICE and your feelings about ICE, you are free to do so. Of course, it is your stream. And at the same time, Emiru and Tomei can talk about whatever they want or not talk about whatever they want on their streams. It is their streams, not yours. And this is why we should be concerned. Because now the current meta for these extreme activists is to start bullying apolitical streamers. And effectively speaking, they're attempting sort of a, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Re-education? Um, conscription, perhaps? That they're trying to conscript these streamers onto their side by trying to force them to comment on current political thing that I am interested. Because if they say the right thing, they could say, haha, we have an ally, and we can shout it from the rooftops that this big streamer supports my political side. And if they don't support your political side or your socio-ideological side, then you could say, well, this person should be silenced. But by trying to force them into choosing one or the other on their stream when they don't want to even be involved in the first place, this is the new tactic of this side. They're going to go after people that don't want to have anything to do with this. They want to go after the innocent bystanders and force them, conscript them into this fight. And I don't know about you guys, but that sounds an awful lot like the tactics used by a certain group that sort of came into power back in the late 1930s through the early 1940s. You're at the point where extreme activism on the left is now targeting what would basically amount to as innocent civilians. We cannot be allowing this to happen. Even if you are, even if you agree with some points made on the left, if you agree with points made on the right, if you don't give a shit about either, we cannot be allowing these extremists to basically try and force opinions out of people for people that don't want any part of this. Because this is not a world war like these people are trying to make it out to be. It's a sociological issue. It is something of a political issue, and not everybody wants to take part in politics. Some people just want to live their lives. And if those of you that are trying to bully these streamers and these content creators into an opinion, specifically your opinion, well, it shouldn't be allowed. It just simply should not be allowed. There is absolutely no reason why this kind of behavior should be tolerated, because this is the behavior of totalitarianism, authoritarianism, and fascism. Ironically enough, the very thing that they claim to fight against, they are heading towards. They are telling people, you have to have an opinion, but God help you if your opinion doesn't line up with ours. Because if it doesn't, well, you just might get shot. You might just get targeted by being called a Nazi or a racist or a fascist for the express purpose that maybe someone who doesn't mind getting their hands dirty might just do that with you. We are treading on dangerous ground here. And this has to stop. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.